right, what's up, everybody, to the Marketing Stuff Live, the first one over on LinkedIn and the first one over on YouTube. So I'm pretty stoked today. This was kind of impromptu, so there's nothing special. We just want to get into the conversation and have some real talk about the how-to dilemma. Like, as a service provider or as a service professional, does making how-to content make you worth less? And today I have my friend. Sometimes I love her, and then other times I just want to fight her. And today is actually springing off one of those times where I just want to fight her. My friend, the Balloon Business Mentor, and she's gonna share her point of view, perspective. We're gonna drop some dynamic content at you so you can see you could be a part of the conversation. Make sure you're dropping your comments in here. I promise you, we're gonna be responding. Hey, I appreciate somebody on Facebook saying I'm loving the space. Thank you so much. Hey, I appreciate you for taking the time to comment. But we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna bring her up, and we're gonna start talking about this. We're gonna start talking about this.
Hello,
Hey.
hello. What's up? I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to jump on. I'm glad you were able to jump on for folks. If you're curious and want to grab more content like this, jump over to the website marketingstuff.tv, where we drop podcasts every Monday at 9 a.m. So these are bonuses, right? So my goal is to make learn marketing easier. This marketing is complicated, but it doesn't have to be hard, and it's only complicated because there's so much information and so much to do, right? You got tons of moving parts, but the objective here is to have real conversations that are, void of the fluff. Like, I don't want to say I don't have anything to sell you, stealing a line from Alex from Rosie, but like selling you stuff is my subsequent priority. I just want you to enjoy the conversation, gain something from it. It's my belief as a service provider that if we do that successfully, then you'll want to work with us, right? So let's get into the conversation. All right, Miss Marie. I'm calling you by your last name today. Okay. So I'm gonna play the video that you had, only a part of it. For anybody that wants to see it, we'll drop the full video in the comments so you can jump over there so that everybody has context as to what we're talking about. So give me 1 second. Let's get this fired up.
If you're a balloon artist, instead of creating how-to content on your socials for your clients, start creating content that's centered around them and their events. What I mean is, you are really cheapening the industry by showing everybody, this is how you do a balloon garland. And I get it, like we all love to see the likes and the comments, and usually those type of videos get you a lot of views. But those views don't turn into paying customers.
So that's your take. so let's get into this, right? First of all, where is this coming from? Let's start there. Where is this coming from? Why talk about this now? Lay that on us.
Yeah, so I am in the balloon industry, and I am not only a service provider, but I talk with other balloon business owners on how to, just be like fire in their field and actually make money. And it is a growing debate in our industry, and I'm sure a lot of other service and especially event-based industries as well, that creating too much how-to content will increase your views and your likes, but not necessarily your local sales. It is a huge debate in the balloon community right now where balloons are becoming more accessible to people and therefore losing their value. And during the pandemic, there was an influx in balloon artists learning how to do this on YouTube, but not actually learning the business aspects or learning professionally how to get this done. Now what we're seeing is that balloons are going from this expensive, like high-end decor to being a lot more accessible. People can now do DIY kits, and it's lowering the value where we're starting to see we're not able to charge as much and make that much of a profit, even though the cost to do business steadily increases. And so it's my hot take that if you are going to be a service provider and you are going to be doing this, why show other people all of your tips and tricks? I am a firm believer in girl bossing, gatekeeping, and gaslighting. So I always tell my mentees, that it's my point of view that if you're going to be a service provider, not like me, if you're not going to be a balloon coach like me, don't necessarily show your competition all of your tips and tricks on Instagram, because those likes don't turn into them actually paying you. It turns into them wanting to learn how to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's your hot take. Video, I do a response. I should have had my response queued up, but the way TikTok is, I don't know if you notice this, but when you do a stitch, the sound's always delayed. Like I have to try to do them external, and then that's too much work. Like I'm all about less work content, right? So I did a stitch on her video, and I was like, I don't agree, right? Like this, I think you can go too far with the idea, and the trouble that I have with TikTok, and not just TikTok, any short form content, is that you have to present the content in almost in a hyperbole type of way, where you're like, this is it. Like there's no other answer. And so I recognize that there's some of that, but I also recognize that like you probably meant what you said the way you said it too.
Oh, you know I did. I did.
So here's the thing. I will say this. I'm a firm believer in how-to content. Firm believer. I think that there's a few reasons why. More often than not, when you're a new service provider, you do not have the credibility necessary. And so one of the ways that an easy way that you can show credibility is by doing the thing, right? Making the transformation.
Right.
Then you also talk about like the psychology behind a micro transformation, right? So if your client or customer wants to do something and you can teach them how to do it, they now trust you because you've been able to deliver them from one pain point to the next. How-to content does that very well. So for new service providers, not just in balloon, but other industries, how-to content is typically how we build our authority, because otherwise we don't really we ain't got nothing. You ain't got no testimonials. You ain't got no, you barely even know, you don't know your Rudy from your Tootie yet, right? Like you're just starting to get into and understand the space, right? Because people talk about like you should go and work for somebody else for years before but the truth is you still don't know nothing.
Right.
Exactly. Like you get into the space and you're like, oh, all I did before was make garlands, and I thought that I knew something, but now I have to manage the business side, which I think is what we're seeing a lot of. Like these newer entrepreneurs, they don't know what they don't know, and they're lost, confused. And unfortunately, the rise of social media and the ease of distribution for information means that there's a lot of really great information, but also a lot of really bad information.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Now, the second reason why I'm like, I don't know. Every industry has to go through a period of growth, right? Elon Musk shared the patent for the battery for the Tesla in order to force the electronic car industry to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He showed them how to do it. Like he was like, bam, here it is. Because part of you being able to capture customers is through either expansion into the market, deepening the market. But when you hit a certain point within a market, it's like, that's it. That's all the customers. So you either have to enter into a new one or the market itself has to expand. And I think part of what was kind of discontinued or not discontinued, devalued in your video was like the how-to content has caused the balloon industry to grow.
Yes. Okay. So, and that's such an interesting point that you made. The how-to content. Well, okay. The industry, nowhere near the tech industry or Elon Musk. We're talking about balloons in here, but during the pandemic, it was a boom because a lot of us were home. We were desperately looking for money. And this industry is one that I tell people all the time. If you're a mom, if you got kids and you want to make money, this is a great one to be in because you can do all of those, right? And so we saw a huge increase in the amount of balloon artists coming into this industry. And we also saw a huge increase in the demand for everybody wanting this because we made it so accessible. everybody wants this. Before, it was typical like that you would only see balloon, like massive balloon decor like this in like celebrities events or in corporate events. And now the everyday mom can have something like this in her home for a more affordable price. So I do agree with you there. And I think with my industry, we definitely hit that space, you know, during the pandemic, and we're starting to see an increase in the amount of people who not only want the product, but also want to be in this product or in this space as well. I guess my suggestion would be make it about your customer. So because and this is a complaint that I hear with the Balloon Business Magazine and the artists that I'm interviewing, a lot of the time you'll see they'll have like 200,000, 300,000 followers, right? It's not people who are buying from them. It's people who want to learn how to do it. So they're not actually paying for their product. They just want to figure out how to get it done so they can do it themselves. So that's kind of where they get frustrated. And a lot of the time they don't want to be teachers. They want to sell more balloons. So it makes it really difficult. And I always say this, like, instead of showing somebody, hey guys, this is a step-by-step on how to make a garland, instead say, this is the difference between a garland and an arch, and this is what would be better for your party. You know, I think content like that will make you more sales, will make people, it's still kind of giving an insight. You can still see the process, but it's not necessarily giving away all industry secrets. Because I believe that we have a major problem with pricing in my industry. And I've heard this, you know, with a lot of other
not yours.
Oh yeah, where
all
people are just charging entirely too low, right? Because we give all the information, because they don't now have to invest in this stuff, because they don't have to really spend the money. They don't understand the value. They're like, well, we'll just charge $100 for something that should have been 600. You know what I'm saying? And but I find that when you don't give away all of that information, when you make somebody have to invest to learn in something like that, they value it a little bit more. They understand now why they have to charge what they do, because they understand the initial investment. But if you're just giving away all your industry tips and tricks, why would a customer want to purchase from you if they're in that market already where they sway between, I could do this myself because it'll be cheaper? You know, the reality of it is, and I hear this all the time, well, my customers aren't DIYers. Yeah, but then in the same breath, then you'll call me and tell me, but nobody wants to pay my prices. This is so difficult. But you just told me your customers weren't DIYers. So that means that they actually are. People inherently just want to save money. And so a lot of people don't actually value their time over their money. And so they would rather just do something themselves. And if you're showing them exactly how to do it without making them pay, it's like, why would they purchase from you?
Yeah, I don't agree. I don't agree that people don't value their time over their money. I think there is a point where the pain of let me say this different. It's about pain. Is the pain of paying you more or less painful than doing it myself?
It depends, I think, on the scale.
Right. So I would say, I would venture to guess that nothing in life has ever been truly about time or money, right? Like, we talk about it in those terms, but realistically speaking, money is a relatively new concept in our existence, right? Like, if we go back in time before money existed, we still had transactions. We didn't need money. We just needed to exchange value. And even more so among people that didn't have money, right? Like the poor, they still had to transact business, but they did it in another way. And so all money has ever been was a capturing of value, capture and retaining of value, and the leverage to be able to produce a result by reducing the effort necessary to do that result, right? So, like, when we think about it like that, like, no, it's never been about time or money, right? Like, if I have more money, then I can produce more results. That's the only reason why I want more money, is so that I can produce more results. And oftentimes that means I have more time available to do the things that I enjoy, which is AKA to enjoy life. when I hear people say nobody wants to pay my price, sometimes it's not that they don't want to pay your price, is that you did a horrible job communicating how this is going to give me something that I want. And if we're being honest, balloons are not a necessity. They will never be.
At
right?
all. Exactly.
And so anybody that is getting balloons, they want status or recognition.
Yes. So we can agree on that. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
And so I think most balloon artists, or forget balloon artists, most people in the event industry don't understand what they're actually providing to their clients or customers.
Yeah.
Right? Like I have a entrepreneur that I've worked with for quite some time. She's an event planner. I've worked with a couple of event planners actually. It's pretty weird. But she's an event planner. And we talked about her ability to kind of getting back to the how-to content. It's like if I were, let me roll this back. If I was a balloon business and I did artistry, I would be teaching you how to plan events. I wouldn't be teaching you how to make garlands. I'd be teaching you how to plan events. Because if I can get you to learn how to plan a better event that brings you more money, more luxury, more money, more recognition, or more status, you will want balloons.
Yeah. So, yes, I 100% agree with you. And that kind of, that brings me to like really the main reason that I say this is because as people in the event industry, we continue to always say, well, balloons are not a necessity, they're a luxury, which they are. But are we producing luxury work? Are we portraying the value? We're producing something that is easily replicatable by somebody who can do it themselves. Yep. And so now, yes, I think, and I 100% understand your point there, where it's like, show them how-to content, but make them want your service because you provide that exclusivity. You provide that, what is the word? I can't even think of it now, but the status, because that's essentially what balloons are. You don't pay $1,000 for a 1-year-old birthday because the 1-year-old asked you to. You do it because you want to impress the people, whether you realize that or not.
There you go.
Artistry. Oh, did you get scared?
I got scared. It was like it sounded like there was a bird in my office.
Oh my God.
Like, what the hell?
But
and I'm on live too, so I can't even pretend like that didn't just happen. But so like when I first got this office, there was a bird in it. So like I'm not just tripping, y'all. Like I'm not just in here like scary. There was legitimately a bird when we moved in. So there was some damage to the outside of the building. And so I'm like, hold up. Okay. We good though. No bird. That's forever on live. And there's people watching right now. So they just saw me like straight up freak out. Look, y'all, I don't do well with flying animals in confined spaces. That's not my calling. Okay?
It's not natural.
No, that's not my right. That's not natural. That's supposed to be outside, not inside. Okay. So I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Is there a bird? There has to be.
There's definitely something in the ceiling. Like legitimately, like
maybe
I know I'm not tweaking. Now I just heard it twice. Oh hell no.
Maybe it's a bat. Maybe it's not even a bird.
I'm gonna call my landlord. Like, bro, you're gonna have to come up in here. But go ahead, finish what you were saying.
No, but I was I was just saying that, as artists, it's our job to produce something that is so next level, that exudes that status that people want to portray, and we're just not doing that. We're producing subpar work and calling it a luxury, and then we're getting upset when people don't want to pay our prices. And then we're showing everybody, okay, well, this is how you do it. And now people are like, well, I could do it as good as you. That's the problem. I wouldn't necessarily, because there's a couple of balloon artists that I'm just obsessed with, and they do show that how-to content. But you can't, even though you're watching it, you can't easily replicate that. You still got to call.
Yeah. So I think that's the other side of how-to content, right? Like we got to understand where we are, right? Look, I know if you get on some of my content, I will tell you exactly what to do. I know if you go to do it, you won't be able to do it. And I'm not trying to hide anything from you. Like it's just the truth of the matter, right? Like I did a video the other day about how to go from novice to expert. And it was like a minute and a half long. And it really is about a learning process and using that learning process in order to build your expertise. It's not a complicated topic, but when you go to replicate it, you're not going to know how to take that information and translate that into, now, how do I use this to build my authority? Like, you're just not going to be able to do it. And a lot of that comes from me knowing, like, it's taken me 5 years to figure it out. You're not going to be able to watch a minute and 30-second video to do it, but you are going to be able to take some of the things that I say in that video and apply them directly to your objectives. And it should help you at least come up with a target of what you're trying to do when you're learning, right? So I will say this. I think from the how-to content aspect, us as business owners have to get smarter about the type of how-to content we deliver.
Yes.
Like, I'm not going to tell you, and I'm just be real with y'all. I'm not going to tell you how to exactly replicate my framework. Like, I'm not going to give that to you on a sheet of paper and say, this is the, well, that's not true. I'm writing a book that will tell you.
Yeah, but it's for free at least. You still have
No, right. Absolutely. Like, if you want it, and part of that is because I do believe in, like, I've done a lot of the free content.
Yeah.
And I have learned through my experience, both consuming and producing free content, that oftentimes us as consumers and producers, we don't value it as much.
Bingo. I have a framework for that because I have my blog. I have a lot of free stuff. Like I provide 8% free content and then I provide 20% paid. Yeah. My free content is problem aware. I want to spark something in you. I want to present a new idea. And if you're a boss, because not everybody can be a boss, not everybody can run their own business. If you have that in you and it sparks something for you to want to invest to then pay to learn how, the information is available. But not everybody's going to take that opportunity. So I give valuable information enough where I can tell you that you have this problem for free, but exactly how to get it done, you got to, you know.
No, you know what? So here's something that I'll tell everybody watching. If you go back and watch my lives over the years, the answers are there.
Yeah.
Like they're legitimately there. I'm a firm believer of learning and building in public. And so you've seen me talk about everything that you'll find in my frameworks. And I'll tell you what the framework is. But I believe that when we pay, we're not just paying for information, we're paying for the convenience of the packaging and the speed, right? Yes. So like for me, it's not about not making how-to content. Mm-hmm. It's not about hiding the answers behind the paywall. It's about I'll give you all of it, right? Because if I'm honest with everybody on here, me producing how-to content and me telling people and responding to their questions has made me a better marketer faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no way that I would know the things that I know if I didn't have people asking critical questions and being like, I don't know the answer to that. And I don't want to be the marketer that doesn't know the answer to that. So I need to go find the answer. Matter of fact, I can safely answer questions about e-commerce websites. And that came from me posting something on Facebook, doing a live. And somebody was like, I have an e-com website. And I was like, and I probably said it 4 times. I was like, that's not my wheelhouse. That's not my wheelhouse. That's not my wheelhouse. And by the 4th time, I was like, F that. We finna go learn this. We finna go get a cert. We finna do something. Because I refuse to allow me not knowing to be the reason why I can't answer a question. Now I've learned that I don't want to do stuff with e-com. So it's not my specialty. But I can get on an e-com website and I can tell you, 20, 30 things that you're doing wrong. And that's not my wheelhouse, right? So I had to contribute a lot of my growth and success to the production of how-to content that aligns with my values. And I think, as we're talking about this, made me realize one of my core values is 100% transparency. I'll tell you what's up.
Yeah.
And so when I create content, I tend to lead with that. Like, this is it. Like, if you're reading this right now, you're not going to get all the answers. You're going to get part of it, but it's going to be a good part. Or I'm going to tell you everything I know. And this is what you're going to get by the end of this. If you want more, here's how to get more. And that's just how I lead. So I think you triggered me a little bit when you're like, I'm about gatekeeping. Gatekeeping.
So when I say that, it's mainly like to get people to say, well, why would you want to gatekeep and gaslight?
Yeah. I know.
So because I give away free stuff all day long. In fact, I don't pay people. I mean, I don't make people pay me for their mentorship calls. Like, I am literally on phones with people all day long giving information away. However, the whole time I'm recognizing, okay, well, you got this problem. I have a solution for that. Then I can make them buy it at that point because I'm giving them the information. But I have to give away specific information. So like right now on TikTok, I'm running a series on charging. I made a whole free ebook. Like the ebook took me maybe like a week. It is some good information. There's quizzes in there, all sorts of stuff on and I have proven why you need to charge this amount in the industry. Whereas other people, if I'm looking in these Facebook balloon groups, they're keeping that information secret. And I'm like, hell no, we're going to tell everybody that this is the way that you charge.
How long is it?
When now they're coming up with more questions. Okay, well, but I'm not in the market, or this is my problem and this is my problem. Well, now I have a paid solution for you for that. So now you recognize through the free content, this is how I do it. I know this is the answer. I know this is the way. Now I'm giving you a solution through my paid content on how to get directly there without wasting a whole lot of time and money like I first did in my business trying to figure it out myself. I'm giving you the map. So when you're talking about how-to content, it's really, I think it's really a conversation about free versus paid and how to and when to give those kinds of information. I like natural sales. I hate when people are in my inbox like, hey, you want to learn how to market? I got you. Check out my 6-week course that's $1,000. Rather than if you were to build some type of rapport with me, give me value before.
Yeah.
Enough to where I think I could do it myself. I'm trying and then I get stuck and I'm like, shit, maybe I need to know the answer to this. And now you can say, well, I've got this. It's a funnel. It's a funnel.
Yeah.
And that's how you
sure.
it. So I don't say never give anybody anything, because I do think, like, you're right, to progress an industry forward, there has to be teachers in that space. But I do important on, first of all, one, who you're actually servicing, and two, to the level of which you give that information. And for service providers who are B2C, it's not giving the information on like, hey, this is how you replicate. Like, you just have to be really smart about that. And I think that's something in the balloon industry, they haven't quite figured out how to do that yet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so here's what I would tell anybody that, from my service providers especially, like, if you are a business that has a long sales or a long consideration cycle, I'm gonna give you some free game on the call. One of the things that you have to be mindful of is, what is your process that you take people through to be successful. And what's crazy is I've had so many mentors tell me this, and I couldn't get it. I just couldn't get it. I was like, what are you talking about? So it's taken me 5 years to figure out what my signature process is. But you have to figure out what your signature process is. And then most of your content, here's the trick. Most of your content is just going to be you breaking your signature process up and then saying, here's the problem that stems from this piece. And here's some how-to stuff, because understand the progression of the customer that's in that space, right? There's a book called Breakthrough Advertising. It is $150, $125 book, but it's worth it, right? And in the book, very early on, he talks about the different stages of awareness. When you're creating your content, you are creating content for each stage of awareness and trying to graduate someone from that stage to the next stage, right? So that's what you're doing when you're building this content out. So I'm gonna make that a little more concise for y'all. Figure out your process. break your process into smaller segments. These are your pillars, and then break those pillars into levels of awareness, and that's your content, right?
Yeah.
So that's some free game for you. If you want to know how to do this process, I will walk you through it step by step. Drop a comment, and I'll message you, right? So usually I would have a website, but we're building a brand new website just for this, for the Authority Acceleration Framework. So it's not that site's not up yet.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
yes, okay.
I 100% agree with you there. I think it's not a matter of, again, for me, it's not a matter of just not ever sharing your value with the world. I think it's how you do it and when to do it, and you need to know who you're talking to. And
Yeah.
a lot of people, they look at my content and want to replicate.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking to customers. I'm talking to business owners. So
Absolutely. But I think that goes to a lot of like, you're doing pretty much what I would tell another service provider to do.
Yeah.
Right. So, like for me, I can teach you how to do everything SEO all day. I don't do SEO. Right. So I can get on, I can show you how to build landing pages and funnels to the day is long, because I don't do it. It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't take away from anything that I'm doing. As a matter of fact, it brings you to me,
yeah.
and then lets me say, like, you can build this, but if you don't have a program, or you haven't built your high authority assets, you're like, what are those? If you want to know what that is, jump on a call with me. I'll show you exactly how you can create one of those. We actually need to start with your pillar asset, and then get that rolling, right? So I'm with you, right? In the same vein of, you have to be really careful with who you follow, number one, and then how, like, really looking at what their objectives are.
Yes.
And so the how-to content, I would say you're right, and part of what you said, it can get a lot of likes, a lot of shares, but understanding, who are you really trying to attract. I would venture to guess, like, again, I'm gonna say this one more time. Maybe there's somebody in the balloon industry listening. If I was a balloon business person, I'd be out here coaching event planners.
Okay, and yeah, that I could go on a freaking rant, and now I have to make 20 videos about this, all about that, because a major problem that we're having and we're seeing right now is how low the event planners actually value our work.
Yeah.
Because they understand what it is that we do, and
Yeah.
our budgets are always the lowest, and we always get cut first in an event, even though balloons are typically the first thing people ask for. It's crazy. So I 100% agree with you. Instead of coaching your clients, coach the event planners, because the event planners are the ones that convince the client to purchase and spend that amount of money, and it's higher valued. Because for me, if I'm throwing a kid's birthday party, like my nephew, for example, turning 6 this weekend, we're doing something in the house, I'm not having an event planner. But if this is my wedding and I'm spending $80,000 now, I'm going to have an event planner, and they convince me to keep spending more and more. So it's just a matter of target audience and who you're talking to. And yeah, so I 100% agree with you on that. But I have seen the downside where it's, and because I don't produce how-to content as far as like how to make something. And
Right.
I have a stunt in my growth because of that. My community is so much smaller. Whereas if I were to produce like, hey guys, I'm out making balloons today, like come with me, let me show you my tips and tricks, I know I'm going to get so much more followers. But are they of value to me? Are they going to make me money? And the answer is not necessarily. So for me, that's why I choose not to make that. But for the person who teaches how to do those designs now, they may want to reel people in that way. So it's not a matter of don't do it. It's doing it appropriately and knowing who you're talking to and knowing what your end goal is with it.
For sure. For sure. So we can be friends again. I don't want to fight you. I don't want to fight you. I did for a minute. We was about to box. So tell us a little bit about this pricing guide you got. How long is it?
Yeah.
Let's lay some love on us with that.
Yeah, so the pricing guide is maybe like 20, 25 pages. there's a bunch of quizzes in there to show a balloon artist, first of all, what kind of balloon artist are you? Because that determines then what market you're in. If you're luxury, convenient, or value-based, that will help you figure out what is important to you. Are you wanting to save the customer money? Are you wanting to produce these high-end events? Or are you wanting to help them get something fast and that's good quality? That's important so that you can determine what products that you actually need to have. It also breaks through the objections that people, they always have the same couple of objections when it comes to the fact that I'm saying you need to charge this price. I don't know why, but it's like a secret number in the industry. You got to start off charging $20 per foot. That was literally before the pandemic. Eggs never was $6. Now I look at eggs and I'm like, oh, I'm good. It's too much. Gas is expensive, and the price of balloons go up at least 10% every single year. And I've been able to show that in this pricing guide through my actual invoices, through my actual receipts, to show you, one, it's not profitable anymore. And then also we break through the objections of, okay, if I live in an area where my surrounding people that I'm servicing can't afford that price, then what do you do? So it's really good resource. And then of course I'm upselling my budget calculator, which shows you how to actually think about the numbers, and it breaks it down, and it's a whole profit first method that I created specific to the event industry. But that's essentially what it is. And so on TikTok right now, we're walking through the calculator and I'm showing people how to use it. And I'm also breaking through those objections, because those are the comments that I'm getting. So everybody's like, oh my God, I can't charge that much. I'm new. Well, guess what? That is the new person rate now. That's the new standard.
I think, so I think the challenge a lot of times people have, and this gets into some like interesting psychology, is that people relate time in a space to how much you can charge. And I've had this conversation with service providers before. I've been guilty of this. Let me throw this comment up on the screen so we can chat about it. When I teach how to for graphics, different audience packages are actually increase my value, because now they understand what's going into design. Like still know design principles, good stuff in Canva. Okay, cool. So I think templates only go so far.
And that's true, though. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Because I buy templates left and right when I'm doing design, especially for my magazine. But if I don't understand those basic concepts, it's like, what do I do with this template? So yeah, I agree.
Speaking of which, for let me shout her out, Tamara. I'm gonna be on her podcast. I don't know when it's dropping, so can't do no spoilers. But we're getting into it. We're talking about anytime I'm on these shows where people are asking me questions about me as an entrepreneur, there's always something that I've never shared before. This one's no different. So feel free to I'll share that on all the platforms that I'm on as soon as the show drops. So just want to show her some love. And yes, I agree. There's value. Matter of fact, speaking of value, let's go ahead and share this what do you call it? I don't know why I'm blanking. Your pricing guide, so people can see what it looks like. Here you go. So if you're in a place where you want to learn how to price specifically for the balloon industry, I would say grab it. But I would also say, even if you're not in the balloon industry, I'm sure there's some nuggets that you can glean from here, just in general about pricing. And pricing is one of the most challenging things for a business owner. And I say that because it's a combination of what you're capable of delivering, what the market will bear, and your confidence, right? And so even this $28 per square foot, we're saying that that's what the market can bear, but your confidence may not allow you on a psychological level to charge that, because you have an issue with your self-worth. Right?
And exactly why I created this. It goes through breaking down all of those barriers. And you're absolutely right. In general, it uses the balloon industry because that's what I do every day. But in general, this is a great resource for anybody who's having a hard time meeting their industry standards for pricing because they feel like they are not good enough or they've not been in the industry for that long. And I'm going to tell you guys, I've never made a magazine before. And I just decided one day I'm going to just do this. And like, I can't even explain the crazy stuff that I have access to now just because I started and beat down all of those objections when it comes to my confidence. And that's really all that it is at the end of the day, is getting over that those limiting beliefs. That's all that workbook really talks about. So in any industry that will apply. But you can tip me if you want. So
you can what if we want?
You can tip me if you want to, but it's free. It's free. So just take advantage. What'd you say?
You said which thing is free?
That workbook. It's free.
Oh, the workbook. The workbook. I was like, oh, I know the magazine ain't free. I want my money back.
Some of the articles actually are. The online articles are, but you know,
I'll just give you credit.
It helps my viewer rate for my advertisers. So that's
I get it. I get it. You know, it's the same thing with podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
I tell we not gonna go there, but you know, a lot of it is about how many views can you get. I got somebody asking a question, and I want to address this person by name, but I'm not seeing their name pop up. So I'm sorry that I'm not able to address you by name, but it's somebody on Facebook. Should I ever start off doing free work to prove yourself before charging high and upselling? So I'll let the Gaslight Gatekeep and Girl Boss answer that first, and then I'll jump in and give my 2 cents.
Yeah, and guys, excuse me, I'm also running to get my charger before I die on you, but yes and no. If you have the audacity to call yourself a business owner, I think you should have the audacity to go in there with, you know, like knowing that you're good enough to not have to do stuff for free. However, I also believe that if you do anything for free, you really have to think about the pros and cons and the benefits to doing that. So for my industry, something that I like to push is a thing called styled shoots. And that's essentially where you're doing the work for free in order to get photos and network with other vendors who could potentially, you know, help sell your products.
Yeah.
But not every style shoot is good, because not every style shoot matches your portfolio, and not everybody involved in that shoot are going to be people that you want to refer out to you with the target client. So some stuff, yes, you can do for free, but it depends on the audience, because you can make some free templates and stuff if you're graphic design or whatever industry you are, and put that out. And that's free work, yeah. But you're also gaining something, because you're gaining, again, that authority, and you're gaining their emails for your email list. So I say free work is cool, but you limit it, and you have to really, really consider how it will benefit you.
Yeah. So I would say my answer is less nuanced. Mine's gonna be yes. And I still do. Matter of fact, I'm relearning Google Analytics, and I just did free. Like I'm a firm believer in practicing to proficiency before I charge somebody for the work.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not the type of person that. So I'm trying not to get too far ahead of myself. You need practice to be proficient. So you have two options. You can practice on fake projects. That is always an option. I don't care what it is that you're doing. You can always do some sort of practice on fake projects. Come up with something and just do it in your own space. If you're doing balloons, you can create your own event spaces. If you're doing Google Analytics, you can launch websites and put in all the work to build the website and reinstall the pixels. You can do all that stuff. I personally would prefer to find businesses that I can help while I'm learning, because I would prefer to have the impact of helping someone else than just getting proficient, right? So that's my personal opinion. That's not me telling anybody that not helping a business is good or bad, but it also gives me the benefit of being able to then go back and get testimonials from that person, right? So I'm with her on the limiting. You do have to limit. You really do have to say, I'm going to, like, if you, matter of fact, I just did this post for the Google Analytics stuff probably like 4 weeks ago, and I said, I am doing 10 people at a reduced rate for Google Analytics. The first person is free. The second person is $15. The next 8 are $30, right? And it has nothing to do with the money. Like I could really like the difference between $15 and $30 is not a money thing. Please understand that. It was a scarcity thing. It was an urgency thing. And it was a reminding people that this ain't free thing, right? And so you can do things like that, or do it where you reduce the risk of saying, I'll do it free up front. If you're happy, pay me on the back end, right? So these are ways that you can reduce the risk to the person that you're trying to work with and essentially get to some sort of compensation.
I think also like it really depends on what you do, because with my industry, it's extremely expensive. And that's the block there. It's like, okay, because I remember my first ever styled shoot, I traveled 3 hours away and I spent $900 to get that done for a big fake wedding, right? And when you're first starting off your business, those initial investments that's scary to spend that amount, especially when you're struggling already. Whereas, if you could do some side projects and they don't really cost you a lot, that's something to consider as well. And so that's why for me, like I have to be really specific in what I do. But I'm doing a speaking engagement where I'm leaving this summer and I'm doing it all for free because I know the exposure that's going to be coming from that is insane. Like they posted me today and like it's nonstop. I can't wait to go check who's following me now, So it all depends. But also doing it for free for a client is good because now you get that real life experience as well.
Yes.
We never know what happened on an event, right? It's crazy stuff that I've seen, but I wouldn't know that if I'm just practicing at my house. So, it's a matter of you figuring out what your objectives are. If I determine I got to do a wedding for free because I want to know what could happen when I start charging for this.
Yeah.
Then do it. But if you're like, I really just want to practice this design, that's something you can do from home. So, this really depends on a whole lot.
For sure. Right. And to kind of go back to the Google thing, part of the reason why I did what I did is I don't know what the onboarding process should be for somebody if I'm trying to do their Google Analytics. I don't know. I've only done them for myself.
Yeah. So
I can't automate or reduce the amount of work that I have to do with interacting with the client. And if I'm like, hey, I'll migrate your Google Analytics and manage your data for $1,500 up front and then $500 every month. And then I'm like calling you every other day saying, hey, I need access to this, or hey, you'll be like, dude, why you didn't tell me this in the beginning?
Yeah.
Right. So these are the things that I've learned as I'm going through and realizing that like, hey, because of the type of person that I am, I know that like, if I see something like the business is not on Search Console, I'm going to want to fix it. I'm not going to leave that broke. So I need access to I need editing access to your website because I'm going to probably change the site structure so that it works better with your data. I know that I need access to your Google Search Console. I need access to your domain name, right? I need this access so I can make it all work the way that I know you want it to work. I would have known that had I not done, and I can't even say done. If you're watching this and you're one of the people that I'm working on, I promise I haven't forgot you. I'm still working on it. Y'all, look, I was transparent that I didn't know what I was doing and I was learning.
Yeah,
I'm still 50% of the way through the class. So work with me. I got you. We gonna get it.
Also, it also really depends on the seriousness too, right? I probably would never do a wedding for free. What I would do instead is intern with somebody, because another thing too is with us, you only have that one opportunity for these events that people are going to care about for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too, is considering the seriousness of a project, and also can you afford to mess up on it because you're just trying stuff out.
That's truth. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, the thing I love about marketing is like it's really hard. Y'all, it's really hard to make a mistake that's not fixable.
Yes.
It's really hard, especially if you let people check things and you got approvals and stuff like that. You're not just launching campaigns and statements without people approving them. it's hard for you to mess it up. But if you like somebody making somebody's wedding dress, or you about to cut somebody's hair for a big interview, or you making like creams and stuff for people's bodies, I'm gonna need you to do a little more work than just the free work practice thing. We need to vet you out a little bit more. So there's some severity to this too. And I think this kind of goes to the downside of social media and the how-to content is that like uh I don't remember what I was watching, but somebody was talking about how Big Mama could make a recipe and tell you what to put in it. She's gonna tell you exactly what to put in it, but if she doesn't show you how to put it in, you're still not gonna have the same result.
Mm-hmm.
And so this can be the downside of like social media being allowing people to produce content that shows you how to do something, because there's some considerations that go in uh way before you ever like even think about what kind of putting the sugar in the cup. Big Mama had already figured out what brands you should or shouldn't be using.
And that's the part that is the problem with us. It's like, but it's a good and bad thing with our industry, because we can show a client this is how you do it. They're going to try to do it. Then they're going to be like, this is hard. I got to hire somebody. But also the downside is now you watch that video as a somebody who wants to be in the business. You thought you could go out and do it. And then you realized there's a lot more to this than just this garland piece. And so if you're a prospective business owner, you're looking at somebody doing that how-to stuff, depending on the severity, you really have to do your research far beyond that piece, because you have to learn all of the back end, the nuances, the important stuff, because it could cost you a lot of time, money, and headache.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you were
I get business owners that ask me all the time, like, what funnel builder I should use, or what email marketing I should use, or what's another one? What CRM should they use? And I'm like, yo, I have a list of things that I like, and y'all gonna start seeing me actually share my preferences soon. I finally like found something that I'm like, this is the move. Like, if you're a service provider, you do service business and non-specialty. Like, I know you use Honeybook for a lot,
like HubSpot and stuff like that for non-specialty stuff.
Yeah, but if you're a service business owner doing coaching, consulting, Thrive Themes.
I do like
build your website with Thrive Themes. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm probably gonna die on this hill because the flexibility to be able, the speed in which you can build your site, and then the flexibility to be able to put up like really interesting lead magnets is nuts. Like, I made a quiz the other day that has dynamic results and produces dynamic content. So like, you'll be on the page and I can show you blog articles that we've written, as long as we tag them appropriately on the front end, that will only show on this page, right? It'll filter out the stuff that you should be reading that's more in line with where you are based on your quiz results.
Is this good for a coaching business?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Do you are you going to be doing affiliate links?
I sure am.
Okay. Yeah. Make sure you make your money. And that's another thing too. And this is a whole another topic that I could really talk about for years. But if you like a product and they offer affiliates, you're just giving the information for free and being a walking billboard? Or are you wanting to make some, who doesn't like a little extra money when they're least expecting it, right?
Yep, absolutely. And to be fair, I just really started getting into it good. To a point, like I really am, like, I got a couple products that I'm affiliates for, and it really was like, I don't know, like, there's a marketing course now that I'm affiliate for, Course Careers. I hadn't been an affiliate for a marketing course ever, right? It took the right one for me to go, you know what, I can make this work, right?
Yeah, you can't be an affiliate for everything. I mean, I ride so hard for Honeybook because I 100% believe in it, and I have made a lot of money off of it. I know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? So even also, here's another thing too. I'm an affiliate for Honeybook, but then when people get on there, they're like, I don't know how to use this. So guess what? I have a course that's specific to balloon artists that now I'm showing you exactly how to do it, and I'm showing you my numbers. I made 100 grand off of there last year. You know what I'm saying? So yes, be really, really specific. Make sure you actually love the product, and that you are providing it to people who actually need it. I don't just drop my Honeybook course on like video every day. You know, I show people why they need it, then they jump in my inbox, I give them that free call, and then I'm like, you might benefit, and I make it natural. So I love affiliates. That is a really big part of my business right now, and it's great.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. So I'm really slow to be an affiliate for something.
Yeah.
I got a couple other tech tools that I'm probably going to end up being affiliates for, but I'm still like I for the longest would not recommend an email marketing tool. I think I finally found one that I'm like, all right, this is the one, but I still got to kick the tires on it to make sure. But I'm getting to a place now where like I want tools that are dynamic and simple. And so Thrive Themes checks that box and cost effective, right? Like I'm done paying $100 a month for a tool that does a portion of what I wanted to do. And then it's super complicated. Like there are some tools that they're cool and all. And I'm not gonna name no names, but it takes a level of technical acumen that most customers don't have to set them up. I'm not about that life. We're not doing that no more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
same with, I looked at, you know, my the site that I run my blog on, it can send out emails, but there's no way for me to send out an email for somebody who just subscribed. So then I have to go through this other one that it integrates with, but then that one costs a lot more money, and that one also has a blog. And I'm like, so why am I using both of these? You know what I mean? So yeah, it's
what are you using for your blog?
I'm using Ghost.io.
Okay.
Love them for the ease. It's like super easy to post. It reminds me of WordPress. It's just not as hard because I'm not real technical. But I don't love their analytics. I can't see my churn rate over X amount of period. I can only see if somebody's unsubscribed. But when you're in my kind of business, churn is really important to know.
Is this where you're producing the magazine?
Yeah, I do the online version of the magazine there, and then we've got the physical versions as well. So that's
so does what'd you call it, Ghost.io?
Yes, Ghost.io.
Do they do the physical part too?
No, they don't. So I went with Ghost.io because I wanted my articles to feel more blog style, because the reality is people are reading this on their phone. So all of my digital versions of my magazines are actually in blog style, and then people purchase the physical one because like the physical one is just a little bit more special.
What's the website details for the magazine?
Okay, it's the Balloon Business Magazine. And it's not, honestly, and it is so expensive on Ghost.io to put your domain. It's not even funny. So it's its own custom thing. But just, I think if you Google the Balloon Business Magazine, you'll find it. That's one thing that I'm working on. My stuff is not all the way together.
Yeah, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I see you. I see it. I'm gonna drop the link. Do you have the domain name for the Balloon Business Magazine? Like .com?
Do you see the Ghost?
I'm about to drop it in the.
I have not attached the domain yet. And also part of the reason is, guys, I really just started this thing like not too long ago.
Yeah, I wasn't asking you if you attached the domain. I think we understand why not to attach to. Like if you like, hey, they taxed the text.
Yeah, exactly.
So no, I was asking you, do you own the domain yet?
For the Balloon Business Magazine?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, well, that's your homework.
Yeah, I know. I just got out about it today. I was like,
what are you doing?
No, that's important. That is important. Now that I know that this is a viable business, and that is actually a thing that people care about. Yes, that is.
Yeah. So I would say go buy that. Go buy that today, right? And then just for now, do a redirect.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And then there's some integration side, Zapier, all that stuff that I'm working with.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're not. I'm look. There's all that stuff. I get that. I do see why you would use this though. This is pretty. This is pretty standard. Kind of what I would expect to see on a
For like a blog.
like kind of like a news site.
Exactly. And that's
Yeah, I can see that. I can see why you do. Why you would want to use this.
Mhm.
But I would honestly say for you, I think your limitation around WordPress, you got to get over it.
I do, because one of the problems that I'm having, and sorry guys, I'm just spewing all my business out, but I don't care no more, is I can't do like landing pages, home pages. We also have merch now that it's hard for us to link on here and stuff. And there are limitations with this site. So it's a great starting off point. But yeah, eventually we are going to have to move. Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have Tara said make sure you get the other variations as far as like Balloon Biz magazine.
Yeah.
Then, honestly, I think there's a Dot Magazine TLD that you can get. So you could be Balloon Business Dot Magazine. I don't know that to be true. I think it is. But as you see, like mine is marketing stuff.tv. So I'm not huge on them, but like for specialty stuff where like people aren't really looking unless they're looking, I think they can be nice because sometimes it can be really hard to get the domains that we want. WordPress is lit. Jane.
Yeah.
WordPress is lit. Yes, it is.
I know that this thing would actually take off. I didn't think anybody would care at first. And it's been crazy. We're already on issue 6 now. And like I'm working on 7. So it is time now. I think at first I was just doing it as a side project. I started off on TikTok just making videos, just talking crap in my bonnet in my bedroom about balloons, and it completely spiraled from there. So now that I know like this is actually a thing, my mentor is like on my head, and I'm always on my mentee's head. So now like I gotta practice what I preach and actually listen. So yeah, no, I 100% agree with you guys there. There are so many limitations to this site, but it was an easy starting off point. And I think people who just want to kind of start a blog or like a newsletter or something, this is a great way to do it. They have a free version and then they have a paid version too. The themes are just what's terrible.
Miss Roundtree, what is she saying? I think there's. Oh yeah, the magazine TDLs. Like I'm pretty sure there is. Yes, I feel like it is because I looked at it for a magazine that I was thinking about starting. And then Miss Roundtree, thanks for jumping on the live. I appreciate you over on Facebook. I like folks are joining. I thanks everybody for coming in and sharing some love. Does anybody have any questions before we end this live about type of content? Should I or should I not be producing how to? That's how this conversation got started. Should I not be producing how to content or anything that you heard so far that you'd like us to elaborate a little bit more on before we jump off?
This was a great conversation. I can't wait to, share it with my audience as well. You have been a contributor for my last 2 magazines.
Yeah,
I stole your book list, but then also
you did. I was like, what the heck?
I did do that. And but you provided some content for our Black Excellence Edit, and you are like marketing stuff. I know you're the person to turn to, and you've got amazing content. And I can't wait for my audience to see this as well and get various perspectives on the stuff that they hear me talk about that they might be like, oh my God. So
it's funny because over the next 6 months, the whole suite of content will change up. So check out marketingstuff.tv. That's where you see all the podcasts show up. This will show up on the podcast. An edited version of this will show up, so I'll let you know when that drops. It'll probably be a little bit for the fully edited, but this is live, so it's available on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So this is available for folks regardless. So you're more than welcome to share this out or do whatever you want to do with it. I'm saying live. You can use the content however you see fit. I have my verbal permission. Live, sealed and delivered. Uh, the only other thing I would say for anybody is if you or somebody you know is a business owner, marketing professional that wants to share your knowledge on marketing, send them my way because we do lives like this all the time. And so, I do shows like this every Monday, 9 a.m. that drop on YouTube. Secret that most people don't know, if you subscribe to us on your favorite podcast channel, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever, the show actually drops at 2 a.m.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, so you get a chance to hear it before everybody else. Audio only drops at. Oh, actually, if you're on Spotify, this is something interesting. If you're on Spotify, you get the video before everybody else because I upload the video to Spotify. I'm one of the few podcasts right now on Spotify that have video and audio. So if you're on Spotify, you get the video at as early as 2 a.m. You can watch it, listen to it on your way to work, whatever. If you're on YouTube, it drops at 9 a.m. So that's just a little spoiler alert for anybody that cares.
This was awesome, guys. I thank you for having me, let me rant, and our conversations are always super lit. So I thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you for coming. Don't jump off. I want to talk to you after we end the live. Some stuff I want to throw at you. But outside of that, y'all, stay out here winning.
Yes, it makes money. Charge.
Yes.